Everyone loves to give advice these days as if they have some sort of expert opinion on the topic. I have a doctoral degree in biochemistry, got a little bit of nutrition expertise. Let's go through some of these TikTok nutrition advices and see if any of them are worth following. How to lose fat without exercising. Let's roll.
To lose fat without exercising and switching up some ingredients.
Oh, and switching up ingredients. Like,
Don't drink your calories, that can add up quick. Instead, get 0-calorie drinks like this Pepsi Mango Zero.
he recommends that if you drink calories, that you can go to drinking 0-calorie beverages instead. Solid advice, at least when you keep all of your calories accounted for at the end of the day. The drink that he recommends, I'll leave it up to you. That goes and opens up another can of worms. In other words, or in another way, if you go from this many calories from drinks up here to this many calories in drinks down here, you will net a loss if you keep your calories the same overall with the rest of your food stuffs. Good.
Wraps are pretty high in calorie for its size, but extreme wraps are low in calorie and high in protein.
Next, he says that wraps or like tortillas have quite a bit of calories, really just mostly bread. And so he recommends a lower calorie bread product. You can also just eat less bread if you want fewer calories. If you have a alternative choice in your supermarket that has fewer calories per unit weight or fewer calories in general per serving, it really just amounts to eating less of the same thing, which also excellent. These extreme wellness wraps that he recommends look like maybe about the same as another tortilla, except maybe a little bit flatter, maybe a little bit more like a cracker, so you'll have differences in texture. Although if they still serve the same purpose, where like you put food in it and wrap it up and shove it in your face, works pretty good.
Use this for quesadillas. Love to have this if I'm feeling sweet, only 15 calories per popsicle.
He recommends eating popsicles as a lower calorie treat. Pretty dang good. What he recommends you substitute them for, I feel a little bit confused about. Although other alternatives amount to things like sugar-free Jell-O, pretty good. You can also make your own popsicles with perhaps amino acid supplements that have fruit flavors. You can dissolve them in water and then stick them in the freezer, and they give you a little something to tongue once in a while if your mouth gets bored. What you would eat this instead of, I feel a little bit confused about. Although pretty decent thing to just, again, if your mouth gets bored.
There are low-calorie options instead of regular ones.
Right. The next thing he recommends if you use dipping sauces that use the sugar-free variant of the dipping sauce. Also highly recommended, with the caveat that some people got some tummy troubles if they add sugar, alcohols, or other thickeners to it, which they do to help maintain a little bit of the texture in the mouthfeel. You definitely have a dosage makes the poison sort of situation. It does have fewer calories compared to using the other dipping sauces. If you get too much, you can have some tummy trouble. Again, dosage makes the poison.
For pizza on a diet, use Joseph Lavage flatbread, a great protein source and tastes pretty damn good. My clients love my pizzas.
He recommends, if you like eating pizza, to get lower calorie bread and put pizza toppings on that bread instead of presumably ordering pizza out.
Pizza time.
You can also just eat less pizza, although in this case, it looks like he has some sort of open-faced sandwich or like a Mexican pizza, like the tortilla and then toppings on top, using some other bread product where you can keep track of the calories after you eat it. Decent option.
Huge difference here in calorie and protein. Make sure you get a good quality yogurt.
Pretty good tip here. If you get yogurt, lots of people eat yogurt. I eat yogurt. A lot of it has added sugar in it, which does the added sugar mean anything particularly bad in and of itself? No. Again, when you account for all things, some yogurts have higher protein content than others and a little bit lower sugar. This means that when you eat it, you'll stay fuller for longer most of the time. So it'll have a little bit thicker of a consistency. The thickness will come from the protein. It'll digest a little bit slower and keep you satisfied for longer. So overall, at the end of the day, you might end up eating less if you have an ad libitum diet. Otherwise, the calorie swaps end up making phenomenal differences between the yogurts that have higher protein versus higher sugar. You mostly just swap out the source of the calories, which again affects what some fancy people would call satiety. It keeps you fuller for a little bit longer, which has other benefits.
Tomato sauce can add up quick if you're not careful, so read the nutrition label because they all taste the same.
Okay, really like this tip. Lots of us like tomato sauce, and if you look at the labels of tomato sauces, some of them really just look like kind of spicy ketchup. When you look at the calories and how they add up, they do put a lot of extra sugar in there. Some tomato sauces, they have lower sugar content, higher in the spice content. They add basil and oregano and garlic and little extra salt. And as far as he says with them tasting the same, unless you grew up in that sort of family, we have like the connoisseur of tomato sauces. He pretty much hits the nail on the head here that a lower calorie sauce and a higher calorie sauce, especially tomato sauce, like, does it make that big of a difference? No, so you may as well save yourself the calories.
Maple syrup, 110 calories versus sugar-free 0. This is a no-brainer.
another pretty solid option if you like dipping sauces. I would also like to say, disclaimer, do you have to have dipping sauces at all? No! You could also just make food that tastes good and prepare it well and use spices, which also give you another source of micronutrients and metals. So if you do like barbecue sauce, ketchup, maple syrup, sauces, dipping sauces like that, now even teriyaki sauce now, pretty cool. Sugar-free alternatives exist, or lower calorie alternatives exist. In addition, you can also add a little bit of water to it, and it still ends up coating the food and tasting pretty good.
And for bread, there's such thing as low-calorie bread. Make sandwiches and French toast with these guys.
Right. Then he recommends low-calorie bread to top it off. If you look at the low-calorie bread, it actually takes normal bread and slices it into thinner slices, which, genius. If you look at the purpose of bread, under most circumstances, for the typical American person bringing their lunch pail to work, the bread just serves as a way to eat the food in the middle of the bread slices. In that vein, if you can accomplish the same thing with one slice of normal bread, cut long ways to give you 2 smaller slices, well then it serves the same purpose. You save yourself quite a few calories. So overall, decent tips. He takes pretty typical food choices, recommends lower calorie options, and if you maintain your food intake, if you just do the one-to-one swap with all of these things, your total amount of calories you consume on a daily basis will go down, and you will end up losing fat from it. And he makes pretty good suggestions, which means you'll have a decent clip of fat loss, reasonable clip of fat loss, if you keep all the other things stable. Decent. If you like these videos, make sure to subscribe. I'll see you for the next one.